TV.
Good. I hope a lot of people take you up on it. Any chance is it showing in theaters here or around the world?
Well, theatrical distribution is a difficult game in the movie world, and especially when you're attacking the industries that we're attacking. Again, it's a pretty tough one. So we're very much independent distribution. We are available on Netflix. The film is also available on iTunes and directly through our website as well. But we've got a great offer with 50% off the DVD directly through the website, and there's some free bonuses up there for coast-to-coast listeners as well. They can watch the first 8 minutes of the film for free and a behind-the-scenes interview with David Wolf from the film. So we really are working on an independent model where everybody who purchases the DVD will then take some of those funds and reinvest it into making more documentaries, and we're working on another film already at the moment, so which we just interviewed Mike Adams for, funnily enough, who you just spoke to in the first half of the show.
Well, I sure wish you luck on that. I know how tough that can be. I mean, you're just you're working on a shoestring. You want to be able to live and to survive and put good, wholesome food on the table, so you have enough energy to go ahead and produce something else.
Yeah, no, we've found a really great model. The website is going fantastic, and we can just communicate with everybody directly, give them lots of great free information, and then we don't have to rely on the Blockbuster and the Barnes and Noble, most of which are going out of business anyway as the retail DVD business dies. So, yeah, we just want to communicate directly with people, offer them lots of free information, and keep making films that expose the truth behind natural therapies and natural medicine, and helping people understand more about natural foods and making good decisions for their health.
There is a fine line. I mentioned this to Mike Adams in the first half of the show about lecturing people. You know, people don't want to be, Americans in particular, don't want to be told, don't eat that hamburger, don't eat that cow or that bacon or anything. So you have to sort of gingerly approach the giving advice about nutrition, don't you?
Well, I think with nutrition, we've got, and what we're focusing on, what Food Matters talks about a little bit, but what this next film is going into a lot, is that the whole dieting paradigm is flawed. I mean, you have 90 to 95% of people who go on a diet fail. They either put the weight back on or they don't stick to the diet. And the reason is because all diets are based on restriction. Don't eat this, don't eat that, don't eat the other type thing. And what works much more effectively is when you just encourage people and support them in adding in more amazing foods into their diet. So adding in a juice, a fresh squeeze of vegetable juice, adding in some of these superfoods like spirulina or goji berries or barley grass powder or raw honey. And as you add in more of these good foods, the choice for the bad foods just naturally falls away as you feel better and your body gravitates towards making healthier decisions. So I think this whole approach to changing your diet and changing one's diet is much more effective in the long term, and something that we certainly encourage.
And those superfoods that you just listed, that's the real deal, you think?
Well, I think that there is a lot of hype around some of the superfoods out there. In essence, a superfood by definition, as discussed in the film, is a food that has a very high nutrient quality in comparison to its caloric value. And what that means is it's almost like a supplement that you eat directly from nature. And some of these foods have extraordinarily fantastic health-giving qualities, or they have powerful detoxification properties. And if we're looking to do some form of detoxification protocol, then some of these superfoods can be beneficial to add into the diet, and they can be used. But I do strongly recommend that people source superfoods that are local to their area. I think flying foods all around the world so that we can consume them is not a very smart idea. But sprouts are particularly powerful, and you can sprout yourself at home, or you can purchase them from a local food store. And raw honey, sourcing local raw honey can be really powerful, or some of the other, maybe aloe vera or chia seeds, some things like of this nature. So they can be very important foods that we can introduce into our diet.
Other ones, obviously, not local, at least not local to my neighborhood. Goji berries, I don't think, grow here. And then cacao, I was amazed at the benefits and the nutrients in that are listed in your film in that.
Well, cacao, particularly in its raw form, is very high in magnesium, in most of the minerals actually, in particular magnesium, zinc, chromium, and even very high in iron as well. It's a very powerful bean, the cacao bean. But once you heat it and make chocolate out of it, then you ruin a lot of the properties of that bean. So it can be best consumed in its raw, whole state. But again, cacao grows in an intact rainforest environment in a tropical region, so not in all parts of America, that's for sure. But I mean, goji berries have been known to grow in just about every climate on Earth. I mean, goji berries are growing along the coast of the United Kingdom. They're growing in the highlands of the Chinese mountains and the Tibetan countryside, and people can grow them just about anywhere now. So I think as we become more aware of these powerful foods, trying to either grow them locally or source foods, these types of foods that are local and native to your particular environment, I think is best, because we have nature is there for a reason. There's so many clues in nature, from patterns and intelligence and design ideas. And, you know, if we can really tap into that potential, that's where we're going to see a lot of benefit for our health. And I think that local foods, I mean, and the Native American Indians had a saying that they can find within a 5-mile radius everything they need to survive. And I think that we need to think more local with our food choices as well, and start incorporating what we have access to.
James, let's take a couple of calls. Steve in Houston on the wildcard line. Good morning, Steve.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay.
Hey, James, my question is heartburn. I know there's probably millions of people out there that have the same problem, but what's a good all-natural remedy for heartburn? I don't know if y'all talked about it earlier in the show. I caught the show kind of towards the end. So.
No, that's a great question.
Hi, Steve. How you doing? Welcome and g'day from down under. Well, heartburn is something that I struggled with initially before I started learning a lot about nutrition. I was prescribed medications by my GP for lowering the acid production in my stomach. And when I ran out of that medication, my symptoms came back immediately, which had me questioning why I was taking the drugs in the first place. And what I found for me that worked best is really alkalizing my diet and properly combining my food. And what I mean by that is, as you increase your consumption of raw foods and reduce your consumption of cooked foods, and in particular increasing your consumption of green vegetables, either through juicing or through eating more whole green vegetables, or having them in a liquid form, in a powdered liquid form like barley grass or wheatgrass or spirulina mixed into water, and drinking that before your meal, making sure you're properly hydrated. By doing these simple steps, I was quickly able to get rid of my heartburn and acid reflux, and it hasn't come back since. So there's some things that you can take away. And also, if you want to try, you can add in a little bit of apple cider vinegar in water before you eat a meal, especially before you're eating a cooked meal or a heavy meal, because that's going to help aid your digestion and boost your body's ability to digest the food, extract the nutrients from the food, and stop the side effects of the heartburn after a meal.
Steve, thank you. Andy in Los Angeles, also wildcard line. Good morning, Andy.
Hi, my friend. You're doing an excellent job, George. And James, you are also doing a very commendable job. I have a friend, 62, who has been diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease. He looks like the picture of health on the outside, and then suddenly, about 12 months ago, he started having problems with his legs, and then suddenly he cannot walk. To the best of your knowledge, do you think detoxification, James, can help a condition and have a chance to reverse what the medical community says is irreversible through detox for Lou Gehrig's?
Hi, Andy. Thanks so much for your call, and that's a really fantastic question. And let me just start by answering it. The medical profession will tell you that a lot of diseases are incurable because it's not their primary interest to cure you. It's their primary interest to keep you or your friend, on medications. So, I mean, schizophrenia, same thing. The professional industry says 85%. It says it's uncurable, and Dr. Abram Hoffer has an 85% success rate. There are people that have used nutrition and natural therapies to reverse Lou Gehrig's disease naturally. And I know that the Gerson therapy, which we talk a lot about in the Food Matters documentary, has had success with this particular type of illness. and that is really a therapy that's based on detoxification and high nutrient therapy. And you can find out more about the Gerson therapy in the film, or go to just search Gerson therapy, and you'll find Charlotte Gerson, who's the surviving daughter of Dr. Max Gerson, who came up with the therapy in the early 1900s, sorry. And so I'd be exploring Gerson therapy, and I'd also be exploring natural alternatives for this particular illness, but certainly focusing on detoxification and nutrient building as the core principle behind that. And speaking with medical practitioners that are open to natural therapies, I think, is a great place to start as well.
I guess, Andy, if if doctors are saying it's incurable and there's no hope, it's at least worth a try. Thanks for the call. Arlene in Colorado. Good morning, Arlene.
Good morning, gentlemen, and thank you for taking my call. I have a more or less two-part question here. I'd like to know, is it possible that our friendly neighbor up north in Alaska, HARP, is creating this heat wave we are currently experiencing? And if this is so, judging by how I feel with this Colorado heat, namely clouded mind and weakness and stuff like that, is this heat wave a part of the conspiracy to help reduce the population by making us sicker, less physically and psychologically able to resist the heat's effects? And
hey, Arlene, I'm going to intervene. I'm going to intervene here on behalf of our guest, who's here to talk about nutrition and food and vitamins and things of that sort. I don't think he's going to tackle HARP and whether that's causing the heat wave. We've had other heat waves without HARP, but James, if you want to go ahead and take a stab at that, you're welcome to. But it seemed to me that it was a little outside of our subject area.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, HARP technology is something that I'm familiar with, and but not something that really relates to this, and not something that I'm a specialist in. I'm sorry, Arlene.
Arlene, thanks. We'll take a call from you another time when we're talking about that stuff. East of the Rockies, Nick in Knoxville, Tennessee. Hi, Nick. How you doing?
Doing good. Good morning. I've got a question that I've always sort of wondered about. If you look on any bottle of over-the-counter pain medication, it says, don't take more than the directed amount, or you can cause severe, kidney or liver damage. And I want to know, how much do you have to take to cause moderate damage?
That's a really great question, Nick. And as Charlotte Gerson talked about in Food Matters, the documentary, she says, all drugs are liver toxic, bar none. The very nature of a drug, it's a foreign substance to the body. Not one part of the human body is made out of a drug. So what we're doing when we introduce a drug to the body, it's liver toxic, regardless of the dose. But the liver is designed so that it's able to work to eliminate toxins, but up to a certain point. And if you're a liver, and it's different, we all have a different level of biochemical individuality. And if your liver is overloaded with, say, alcohol or toxins from the environment or toxins from your work environment, and then you're adding in medications as well, it could be only a very small dose that is causing damage to your liver. And if you're on any medications, medication can be used short-term for life-saving instances or short-term for acute instances. But if you're on any medication long-term, then I would be really looking for natural approaches to that, and I'd be seeking to understand more about I'd want to know more about the condition and what its root causes are and how you can correct those underlying causes.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it. Try to get one more.